In today's lesson, we're going to look at advantages and disadvantages of different types of graphs. Graphs are useful in telling us information. Depending on the information we want to know, some graphs will be more useful than others. In other words, some types of graphs. So the number of ice cream sales on the weekend at 3 local shops is given in the graphs below. So we're given a circle or a pie graph here, and we're also given a pictograph here, okay? And they both use the same numbers. But depending on what answers we want, one type of graph might be better than the other. So let's take a look at the question. If you wanted to know the percentage of people who bought ice cream at Mike's, which of these two graphs would be best? No, the pie graph.
What?
If you want to know the percentage of people that buy ice cream at Mike's, the circle graph would be best. And here's why. Because what the circle graph does best is it shows you roughly the percentage. So if I look at Mike's here, Mike's is this blue area here, okay? And if I look at this blue area here, what would you say? Is this more than or less than half of the graph? Less than half. Is it more than or less than a quarter of the graph? More. So what are we thinking? Maybe 30 to 35%, roughly? Okay. So again, the circle graph tells us roughly the percentage of something, okay? Next one. Which graph would best tell us the number of total ice cream sold? Picto. We have no idea how many ice creams are sold just by looking at the circle graph. It could be a thing that only 20 ice creams are sold altogether. We don't have no idea. None. So if you want to look at numbers, the pictograph all the way. Because the pictograph, every little ice cream shown represents 10 ice cream. So all you have to do is count the ice creams. So count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus 2 more. So that's 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 and a half times 10, 255 ice creams are sold. And I can tell that by reading the pictograph. You don't have a hot clue about numbers when you look at a circle graph. What other type of graph could be used? A bar graph. What do I think about bar graph?
Or a line graph.
You could use a bar graph, I suppose. And you could use a bar graph, although I don't think it would be as useful as these two types of graphs, okay?
A line graph.
I'd say the same thing. You could use it, but it wouldn't really be all that useful necessarily. The line graph, you know what you could use a line graph for, is you could use a line graph if you were looking at sales over a few days. And if you're looking at sales over a few days, you might have something that looks like this for one of the, you might have something like this, and you might have something like, I don't know, like maybe this or something. You could have where you're comparing all 3 of them over more than just one day. But we're not, it doesn't say that, so I'm not going to jump to that kind of conclusion there, okay? So if you haven't noticed, today what we're doing is we're looking at what types of graphs are suitable depending on what situation we're looking at and what we're trying to answer. That's the whole point of today's lesson, which is why we spent some time in reviewing the types of graphs before we got into this. All right, now let's look at this example right here. The Apple Store in Polo Park tracks the number of sales the new Apple Watch and iPhone have during the first 3 days of release. So there's a double bar graph that shows daily sales, and there's a line graph that shows daily sales. Which graph is best for comparing the sales each day for the two products? Bar graph. The bar graph's a little bit better for sure. Because you can actually and I know you can do this with the line graph too, but you can clearly see where the bars land, 400 and 500. Again, if I look at this, I guess you can also see it there, but it just seems a little bit more clear by looking at that bar graph. So we're going to go bar graph. Which graph is best for showing the changes in data over time?
Line graph.
The line graph. Because you can see that the line goes down and then up, or down and then down. So the line graph would be best for showing how the number of sales change over the 3 days.